Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Three Not So Wise Men. As always, my name's Austin.
My name's Krais.
And I'm Jyck.
And today, we're going to talk a little Star Wars with you guys.
Star Wars.
Specifically, the sequel trilogy.
The worst one.
Well, I think we're here to fix that.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but hopefully it's better.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do with this is that we're going to take the sequel trilogy and we're going to rewrite it. And that will be whether it's going to be a completely new idea or like adjusting some ideas from the movies that we did get. What we're going to do is we got some ground rules that we have to, or some considerations that we have to keep in mind. For starters, Disney still owns Star Wars. We're going to go based off that. We're going through the time frame that it from, what was it, 2014, 2015 when Force Awakens came out?
Looking it up.
Basically, anyways, from 2015 to all the way to 2019 when that trilogy happened, Disney owned Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we're going with that. It's owned by Disney. The other thing we're going to consider, and this might be a little bit in hindsight, but we do still have to factor in that Carrie Fisher did die in 2017, 2018, right before Last Jedi came out, or a little bit after. We've got to consider that Carrie Fisher died, so that will adjust the third film.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we're factoring is like the ages of the original actors. So Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. I literally just said her name and I already forgot it.
December 14th, 2015.
Yeah. Cool.
15, okay.
Dude, you're on it.
All right. But yeah, so those are just some of our considerations. If basically what we're allowing is any of the additional lore, if you want to add to it, you can put it in there if it came out for 2014. So that does give you both access to the Clone Wars TV series. So I think I've covered everything.
Yeah, just a reminder, this was the pitch from last episode's spin. It was on our little pitch wheel. I say little. There were so many pitches on there. There's so many.
So many.
I think
there's like 1,000 on that pitch wheel, man. We got so many ideas.
Yeah, in reality, there's only like 30.
No, still, 30 is a lot. It's not like we have, 5 things to choose from for a spin. But yeah, this is for what we did from last week. Not last week, last episode.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. We know. We're working on. We've been busy.
Yeah.
There's a schedule in the works, people. We'll figure it out at some point. When that schedule will be scheduled, we'll schedule the schedule of scheduling. Right?
Yeah, as of right now, the scheduling's not scheduling.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
But how it's going to work is that I'm going to put a timer on my phone, and I'm going to give us all 30 minutes to try to come up with our pitches. If you at least jot down some ideas, you can expand on them, just because I know 30 minutes is not a whole lot of time to write. But just try to get down as much ideas and detailed information as you can, and then once time's up, we will share. As for you listeners, you will not even notice the 30 minutes, because we'll kind of just get right into it. Yeah. We'll spin the wheel to see who goes first, and then, the whole order like we did last time. And then, we should be sharing our thoughts on Star Wars.
Real quick, do we want to discuss our experience with Star Wars, just so the audience knows that we're not just going into this blind?
I'll go ahead and go first. I grew up watching Star Wars, and I was lucky enough because my parents were awesome. I grew up watching like the original movies, so I actually saw Han Solo shoot first. Mm-hmm. So that is a very basic fact. Han Solo did shoot first. Yeah. I really enjoyed those movies, and then I enjoyed the prequel trilogy. I kind of look back at it not so greatly I wouldn't say not so greatly, but not as high as I used to as a kid. But I still really enjoy Revenge of the Sith. That is probably still my favorite Star Wars movie.
Oh, what are the other movies? I can't think of the names.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens.
Jesus.
Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
And then we got the spin-offs, Solo, A Star Wars Story, and Rogue One. I think that's all the movies that have come out.
There's more. I just can't think.
I don't think. There is the Clone Wars animated movie that came out to kick off the series, but I don't know if that got a theatrical release or not.
I'm thinking of
probably
the live action series. I don't remember.
I don't know, but there hasn't been any like movies since Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Is that everything you had, also?
Yeah, that's good. I'm good with that.
Jyck, you want to go next, or should I?
So I also grew up watching Star Wars. It was like my best friends. I talked a little bit about last episode how my best friend and I played Star Wars Battlefront, the original series, a lot. We both just loved it.
All back.
Yeah, exactly. We grew up watching it, the prequel trilogy, but my family also had the original trilogy on VCR, so I'd watch that whenever I could. And then another best friend of mine.
I'm not your best friend.
No, you're not. Anyway. Another really, really good friend of mine. She and I used to play Luke and Leia. Like, when we hung out, I was Luke, she was Leia. That was just the thing we played because we were that age.
See, when we were playing, me and my brother, we always wanted to be General Grievous and Darth Maul because first off, you got the guy with 4 arms, wielding 4 lightsabers. Like, more lightsabers is better. And then you had Darth Maul who had the double blade, which was just awesome.
Yeah. I remember like lightsaber fighting with those telescopic toy lightsabers and all that. And I grew up loving and playing Star Wars, but I just kind of fell off of it as I got a little older, and then finally the sequel trilogy came out, the one we're talking about, and I personally wasn't a fan, so I just kind of fell off the Star Wars bandwagon while that was going on. Krais?
So I think I'm the only one here that didn't grow up with Star Wars originally. I didn't watch the movies until high school, I want to say.
Okay.
Like junior year high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't have access to the movies, and by the time they would show up on TV, they were already like 30 minutes in, and you couldn't back up. So it was like, I don't want to watch this yet. Yeah. And also as a kid, my attention could not sit still for like 3 hours to watch one movie at the time.
I don't think there's a 3-hour Star Wars movie. I don't know what you're watching.
I don't know.
The Rise of Skywalker might be. I think it was the longest one at that point.
Maybe. So, but I did grow up with a lot of like Star Wars things in the household. For instance, I grew up with the Lego Star Wars game.
I played
yes.
the shit out of that game.
Yes, I love it. In fact, recently brought it over to college, and me and Austin played a little bit in our lobby. Remembered how hard the pod racing
that pod racing one! I forgot how hard that was.
Yeah, like it you literally have to win the 3rd lap. Yeah. Or else they make you replay the level.
I think we did like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
On each of the other missions. Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of struggled when we got back to the palace because that one had trouble moving the characters around.
Yeah.
Move the whole party. I think we spent like 30 minutes on that pod race.
Now, this is pod racing.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that episode.
Grew up watching the movies, played a lot of the video games. Force Unleashed was my personal favorite out of all the video games. I really enjoyed Star Wars Battlefront.
I gotta play it.
And then I did enjoy both of the remake ones that came out a couple years ago. I'd love to see a Battlefront 3 come out. Ow! Ow!
Chris is dying.
Okay,
Ow!
It's fine. Don't worry, Wild Bear Skittles are attacking him.
It hurt.
Oh no, he chipped a tooth.
Jesus Christ, I tried to throw one in my mouth and I hit my teeth.
Oh, you idiot.
You're not wrong.
We all love Star Wars, and Krais is dying on Skittles. With that note, you guys ready to start writing?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You will hear us in 30 minutes. And 30 minutes start now. Alrighty, 30 minutes are up, and I have the wheel for who's gonna go.
Oh shit,
right.
This is not gonna be pretty. That went by way too fast.
Before I spin it, how are you guys feeling about your prompts?
I really like mine, or at least the first of my trilogy, but I guarantee it's nothing like either of what you guys have.
I have a feeling that mine's pretty different than both of yours. Mm-hmm. One thing I realized that 30 minutes, I remember why I wanted 30 minutes, because it's a good challenge, but like it's not a lot of time, especially when you're trying to do 3 movies.
Yeah, if it was 1, I would have been sitting there bored, but 3,
I spent a majority of the time working, like maybe, I wouldn't say a majority, since I probably worked on the first one for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh yeah. And then I probably spent the remainder of my time working on Last Jedi.
Yeah. I have nothing for like episode 9. I literally just wrote episode 9, was about to start, and the timer went off.
Yeah. So I have a feeling our finale movies aren't giving me the strongest detail. But here's the thing: neither was the actual movie, so we're all good. First one.
Wheel?
Yeah. Yep. Or first person to give this go is it will be me.
Okay.
The grin on your face that no one else can, that the listeners can't see. I thought he was gonna say Krais.
Oh yeah, I felt
I was
it.
so ready for it.
I felt it in my bones, man. Oh, thank God.
I think you're just excited to present yours.
Yeah,
Alright.
I like mine. It's simple, but I like it.
All right.
All right, following me, it will go to Krais.
Oh, all right.
Krais. So the order will be me, Krais, Jyck.
All right. Well, we're finishing with the best one, so that's fine.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Segment. Okay.
Ouch.
So my overall theme for the Star Wars sequel trilogy is that I'm gonna kind of rework what they gave us. So I really think, so for the most part, I'm keeping Force Awakens the same because I still really like to go back and watch that because it has a lot of potential that just was never fulfilled. So that's why it's kind of dampered a little bit because it has so much potential, it just was never fully realized.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I'm going to keep it the same, but one thing I want to do is I'm going to actually make it a little bit longer because this is the first Star Wars movie in over a decade.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Because I think at this point, the last one to come out was Revenge of the Sith back in 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was roughly about 10 years. So it's going to make it a big event. Everyone's really excited for this. One thing I want to do is I want to add like 5 to 10 minutes to show how Poe Dameron survived the TIE crash at the beginning of the movie after they escaped the ship.
Oh, yeah,
And so that way he doesn't just randomly show up outside of Maz's castle. And I just feel like you could probably get a little bit more of Oscar Isaac because who doesn't like Oscar Isaac?
I love him.
Like,
Great man.
he's so great.
We need more Moon Knight, but go on.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight. He was great in Dune. One thing I'd like to expand on is Han Solo's death. I am still going to kill Han Solo because I think that actually sets up Kylo Ren to be a menacing threat, and it impacts everyone, not only him, but his relationship that you kind of found like this lost father-daughter relationship that he and Rey had going on, which was fun to watch. It affects Chewie. Like Chewie's reaction was more heartbreaking than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing that was kind of missing was Leia's.
Yeah.
And I honestly, they kind of did the same thing with Luke in Last Jedi, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
What I would like to do is, because Leia's was shown to have like this connection to the Force back in Last Jedi, or not Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, she showed at the end of Empire Strikes Back, didn't she?
She kind of can feel people. She's probably not as strong as Luke is, but one thing I would like to see is, like, I would like her to feel that like tension between Kylo Ren and Han Solo on that bridge, and I would like to see her reaction when Kylo Ren kills Han, and just kind of see her reaction by feeling it from such a far distance.
Yeah. Was it Empire when Luke gets his hand cut off and he's like hanging, and it's just like, go back.
Yeah.
Does that really awesome dramatic moment.
Yeah, so I feel like that would just be another nice callback.
Yeah.
That fans would enjoy.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to fix is some of the fight choreography in the forest.
Yes.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But one thing I would like to do is I'd like to make it more balanced between Rey and Finn, because I feel like the trilogy focused way too much on Rey, and it should have been when it set it up to be both a Rey and Finn story. And I would like to see a little bit more of a balance between the two, so it's not just like, hey, Finn has it, all right, he's down, Rey, it's your turn, and then Rey finishes it. Like, I like to see a little bit more back and forth. With maybe a little hint saying that Finn might be a Jedi or might be Force sensitive. And I'd like to go with that. And it also work on their camaraderie too, and just build on that relationship, because they had really good chemistry together. And it would still end up the same with them barely escaping, Finn's on the brink of death. And when they get back to the Rebel base, I would like to have a ceremony for Han Solo, because Han Solo was such an iconic character for such a long time to so many fans. Not only does it make sense in the world building, it just would be very fitting for the fans. So like, you can think of this. they couldn't do like the fire burials like they do for Qui-Gon Jinn and Phantom Menace or even Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But like a nice little ceremony. And I'd like to have Chewie hug Leia first instead of just making Rey hug Leia. Yeah. But I'd still keep a hug for Rey and Leia, just because like Rey did form a sort of father-daughter relationship with him. And then, they had Leia and Rey had good chemistry. Let's do that. And then, after that, the Force Awakens will end the same way it did, with Rey holding out the lightsaber to Luke. And Luke holding it on and looking at her, about to say something. Cut it off, and just like when Force Awakens originally ended, huge speculation, Star Wars fan hype was through the roof. Everyone's super excited for Last Jedi. And then it came out.
And then
it became the most divisive Star Wars film to date. So, what am I fixing with The Last Jedi? Well, for the starters, I'm keeping the intro, or the first part of the movie, where the Resistance has to leave the planet they're on. Yeah. And they're being evacuated, and to buy time, Poe, he still gets in his X-Wing. He still distracts him, cracks a couple jokes about Hux's mom. Yeah. That whole bit's gonna stay in.
Oh, I love it.
I don't remember it.
But it was like, hey, can I speak to this guy? I'll hold. It's like, yes, this is me. It's like, yes, this is me. It's like,
oh yeah, I vaguely remember this now.
Are you there? Yeah. Yes, I'm here. It's like, just let me know when he's there, type of thing, and then it goes on.
Yeah, and then like we'll still have his fleet, his little patrol, or his little group come out. Yeah. And then his squadron will come out, and then most of them will die, and then he'll start having that guilt of being a bad leader, or wondering if he's making the right calls and stuff.
Is there still the bombing thing where the big old ship died or gets destroyed? Or is it just he got his group devastated? Squad, like, annihilated?
Probably squad annihilated. I don't remember the bomb portion of it. It's been a little bit since I last watched Last Jedi, so.
I just remember it because it led up to whoever the heck was with Finn. That was...
Rose.
Rose, yeah. Rose's sister, I want to say, was in the bombing thing.
Yeah.
And released the bombs that destroyed that dreadnought or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm addressing that. I did not like the idea that they had like a starship tracking technology that can track through starship. What I'm doing instead is that the Resistance is going to have a mole on their side. Ooh. And basically, for that side plot, General Akbar, like the commanding ship is still good. Like the commanding, what's the main main area for like commanding officer? Yeah, the bridge. Thank you. Yeah. The bridge is still going to get destroyed, and Leia's going to get hurt like she did in the movie. But General Akbar is going to survive, and he's going to be doing a search. I want to make Carrie Fisher's daughter. She showed up throughout the trilogy. She's going to be a more prominent character, and she's going to help Akbar try to solve who the mystery of the mole is. While instead of it being Finn and Rose, it's going to be Finn and Poe, who go out to try and Finn and Poe, along with some other troops, go out on a mission to try and find supplies to fix the repairs they need, as well as see if they can find any leverage over the Empire and stop the tracking. And then I don't have a great idea of what that would entail, but some of the key highlights that would come from that is like Poe will slowly learn to develop, like, this is war. Some people are going to get lost, and it's because of what he's able to do as a leader is what makes him great and why he's in this position that he is. And he'll just continue to rise through the ranks into the next film. And then Finn, he's going to learn more about his force powers. Ooh. And he's going to start learning that he can develop them, and he's going to start realizing that he could be a Jedi. And then at some point, they do get captured, but in the original movie, but I don't think I'm going to have them get captured. I didn't really have time to think that one through.
God, I clearly do not remember the second movie very well.
Yeah.
No, they try to hire a guy who can disable the tracking system. They hire him and he betrays them. They get captured, and then there's this big fight. They barely escape.
The biggest thing I remember from Last Jedi is Kylo Ren going, FIRE!
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I think I might keep that. It's got good memes out of it.
Yeah.
But also, it'll work later on, too.
Meme quality.
But transferring over to the Luke and Rey side, we're going to pick back up, just like it did in the other movie. But instead of Luke just tossing the lightsaber over his shoulder like a joke, he's going to look at it, and then he's going to set it on the ground, and then walk to his hut without saying anything. And then you're still going to get some of that stuff like Rey not understanding what is going on. And the main problem with Luke is that he's afraid, and he feels guilty because... And we'll see this on screen too, not just like quick little flashback stuff, but we'll see a full scene of Snoke and the Knights of Ren coming to Luke's new Jedi temple, killing everyone or capture and turn them into other Knights of Ren.
Was Snoke in the flashbacks at all, or was it just
no?
It was just the.
But it's just gonna add more depth to Snoke.
Yeah.
And then
That's the leader of the First Order, right?
Yeah.
Hate that dude.
Yeah, it's sad too because he's played by Andy Serkis, who's a phenomenal actor, specifically Gollum and Caesar from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, he's so good. I didn't know he played him.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
That's
Yeah.
been an awakening.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so not only did they kill most of Luke's Padawans, they also killed Ahsoka. Who was his closest connection left to his father, and he's angry, he's afraid, and he feels so guilty for trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. So he feels responsible for getting all the kids killed. Yeah, and he realizes this, so he decides that he can't be a Jedi, and he just decides that he needs to stop and just live alone. So he still get kind of like that more reclusive Luke, but it's not, he tried to kill his nephew. Because he feels guilty because he even lost his nephew. Because we're still keeping Kylo Ren as Ben Solo. And so what's going on with that is that throughout the story, we're going to have Rey be that kind of character to try to bring Luke back to the light. And so when they go to Krais, I think that's the salt planet they go to at the end of the movie.
I don't remember.
The one with the red dust?
Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
But that one, they will both go there. And so, yeah, we won't do that Force Ghost projection thing. Yeah. And I'll say right now, Luke's not going to die in this one. Yeah. And there might be a little bit of hindsight knowing that Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah.
Yep. But one of the big things that's going to happen is that during this arc, we're still going to have that arc for Finn where he kind of just wants to run away. Mm-hmm. But as he's discovering his force powers, he realizes that he can do stuff for good. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to continue going on. Rey will get captured again by Snoke. Okay. And then Snoke's going to do some psychological torture and try to convert her over to this dark side. Yeah. Mm-hmm. At the same time, she's trying to convert Kylo Ren back to the light. Yeah. And they start to do that, and so we still get the throne room scene. Yeah. And then Kylo Ren still goes down to the planet to try to wipe out the Resistance. Mm. And then we still get him saying fire and stuff. And then he's gonna go down and actually have a final battle with Luke. Yeah. But Luke's gonna put his lightsaber away and just do the dodge stuff again. Yeah. And then he's gonna wear out Kylo Ren and just kind of talk him down and just bring him back to the light. Mm-hmm. At the same time, the First Order's got that giant laser cannon that can destroy the plane. Yeah. Finn and Rey are trying to stop it. Mm-hmm. And Finn decides that the only thing that he can do is to crash himself into that. Yeah. And then Rey turns around in the Millennium Falcon trying to stop him. But Finn, using his new force powers, adjusts the controls from where he's at, making her turn around. And as he pleads for or Ray pleads for him to not do it. He's like, "This is what I need to do," and he's about to say, "Ray, before you can finish, Ray, I love you." He crashes into it, saving the resistance, but sacrificing himself. Completing his arc from coward stormtrooper to hero rebellion leader.
I hate that I love that. It's too
good. One of my things that I've always said is Finn needed to die. And like I felt like this, but I also really like the idea of him being a Jedi. So I feel like this was a good balance of trying to have him discover what he can do, and like you still got a little bit of that lightsaber battle. And it's just a good balance because you get great sacrifices that completes his arc.
Yeah, that's really good. I
but
like that
it's also not just to complete his arc. It continues on with Rey's arc. Because in psychological torture and the guilt of Finn's loss and grief, she slowly starts to fade to the dark side and turns to Snoke, who is not dead. They didn't cut him in half in this one. So so she's gonna go with that. And then that's kind of where I had to cut off because of time. Because basically the movie should end about the same with Hope still being alive. But you know, they have to but the other thing is like you're gonna get reactions from Poe seeing his best friend die. That's the other thing that I wanted Poe and Finn, because they had great bromance chemistry. And just seeing Finn die would also really hurt Poe. And then that way, and then with Kylo Ren coming to the light side and training with Luke, that sets up the third film for Rey versus Ben Solo.
Rey's the villain. Yeah, because we saw. Wasn't there in one of them Rey saw like the dark? We got teased that Rey like sees the dark side version of her, and it was like a. I don't know, like a vision that lasted like less than a minute.
It was very similar to that scene in the Rise of the Empire. Revenge of the Empire.
Revenge?
No, what is it called? Oh my god.
Which one?
Episode 5. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking? Rise of the Empire.
I've been up since 7 a.m., guys. I'm sorry.
And
it's
much
like
later.
It's
later than 7 a.m. Just so listen.
Yeah, that. But yeah. Because I didn't get a whole lot, I couldn't really go into what story details I wanted for the final film. But basically, we would see that like dark version of Rey, and she would end up wielding a double blade lightsaber.
Ooh, yes, more double blades.
I would like to see the like a little bit more fleshed out romance of Ben Solo and Rey. Because they've had that. Just make it a little bit clearer, so it's not just so off-putting.
It felt so forced.
Just make it a little bit more natural.
It did.
And then we're not doing Palpatine. Snoke will be the main bad guy of this trilogy. But yeah, that is my pitch for the whole trilogy because I did not have time to write the third movie.
Do we want to do like our feedback on like
giving
notes? I think we would. All right, Chris, do you have? I have thoughts, but Chris, do you have?
I have thoughts, but do you want to go first?
I don't care either way.
I'll go first, I guess.
Cool.
I liked it. Making me rethink a few things that I wrote down, but you know, I really do like yours. It's really refreshing. It's clear that you remember the movies better than I did. And I love the idea of Finn sacrificing himself. I don't have that, but I think that you're right. I'll concede to that. He should have died, just to add a little bit more of like, je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. That was the other thing. And like one thing we could have done, you didn't need to like keep the same characters. You could have had a whole different approach to it.
I wrote mine's a completely different storyline.
We are getting that one.
Thank God.
Yeah, no, I didn't I kept barely anything from what we actually have.
Cool.
All right,
Jack.
Okay. So my thing was, I don't know. I personally don't like the idea of Finn having force powers. I always like the idea of someone just being able to wield a lightsaber very well, but not actually be able to use the Force. I think he'd be like a great symbol for that.
Yeah, I understand that, and I'm fine with that. The reason I decided to go with that route is because it was heavily suggested that he might be force sensitive throughout the films.
Oh, yeah.
So that I'm like, let's go into it. Like, people want to see that.
Yeah.
And I felt like it would just give more to his character.
Yeah. No, it's completely your thing. I was just saying that's just my feedback. That's the only thing I would change. Other than that, I absolutely love what you did.
Yeah, cool.
The Palpatine thing was just...
Yeah, the Palpatine was definitely forced. Like, Rise of Skywalker was, like, really, really forced fan service. Whereas, like, Force Awakens was also fan service.
Yeah.
But, like, it did it in a good way.
It's still set up a lot.
And it works better because it's a setup film, not necessarily a payoff one. Because because that same year Avengers Endgame came out.
Yeah.
But, like, they were... Not only were they, like, doing, like, good Easter eggs and stuff for the fan base, but it was also like a conclusion kind of way. Whereas this stuff is like, hey, we're finally going to throw Lando in here.
Yeah.
And that might be one plot.
I forgot Lando was in the sequel.
He is?
Yeah, he's in the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
not very long either, but he's in
God
it.
damn it.
I feel like that would be the thing I would throw. Another reason that would probably be one of the people they would run into, Finn and Poe would run into during The Last Jedi. Yeah. Because not only does it bring Lando in a lot sooner, it kind of matches when he was introduced in the original trilogy with him being introduced in the second film. Yeah. And that way he can be a little bit more prominent in the third. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's my idea.
All right.
Grace.
All right.
Your pitch.
So, I went in a little bit different route. I think. I will say, as you were like discussing your pitch, a few things did come back to mind, like Finn almost dying at the end of the first film. I completely forgot that, but I added it in to the second film.
Okay. So you kept the same characters and stuff?
Yeah, I kept the same characters. I mostly just worked with some of the key characters: Rey, Finn, Poe, BB-8. Kylo, and there's a few other. I think I like to talk about. Most of mine is just kind of notes. It's not really cohesive until like you get to like episode breakdowns. But yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Grey Jedi Order in Star Wars, and the fact that you don't get much of the Grey Jedis at all in media. Is something that I feel like is a missed opportunity. Yeah. So the idea is that Rey becomes a Grey Jedi, like one of the new Grey Jedis at the end of the trilogy.
Can you give a brief explanation of Grey Jedi? Because the listeners they might not know. I actually don't remember much about.
Okay, so the Grey Jedis are basically
listeners.
The Grey Jedis are pretty much how it sounds. They are Force wielders who don't agree to both, who don't agree with Sith or Jedi philosophy. They don't use anger like the Sith, but they also like have more flexible rules, unlike the Jedi. They're kind of like the balance.
So like they can have relationships. They can kill when it's necessary.
Yeah. They're very much a mystery. Not much is known of. I don't like right off the top of my head. I don't have much.
Well, I think the thing about the Great Jedi is like it's deep lore stuff. Like I don't know a whole lot about it. I know they're a thing, but like I feel like that would be a good way to introduce them to the main like general audience.
Yeah, I mean like so many people didn't even know why Rey's lightsabers yellow at the end of the very last movie. I didn't. I had to look it up.
I didn't even know it turned yellow.
Yeah, it was like in the very last thing she has a yellow lightsaber. That's like it's just like the last shot of the last movie if I remember right.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just like, what the heck? And then they had to look it up.
And I feel like that would probably still be the same for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Like that would still end that way.
And another thing that I leaned into was a quote that I've heard from George Lucas himself that I love about the Star Wars the franchise. The story of Star Wars is the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker. That is it. So the whole like I'm Rey Skywalker, I hate that. I absolutely hate it because the whole point was. Anakin brought balance to the Force. He made it so that there was only like 2 of each. So the idea was that it's not really part of the it's not part of the other trilogies. It's an epilogue, if you will. It's like the aftermath of the big war between the two.
I will say, I didn't mean to write this down, but like I was, because they still heavily teased on Rey's parents in The Force Awakens, I was actually going to make Rey a Kenobi and kind of play on like that balance, because if you see the Clone Wars, Kenobi goes through a lot of shit and he still never went to the dark side. What if Rey went through a lot of shit, but unlike her ancestor, she actually fell to the dark side. And she still get that comeback.
Yeah.
The light and get the yellow lightsaber at the end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I kind of went with I for Rey in my reimagined trilogy. She's just a normal like Force wielder. She's not a Skywalker or like related to anyone that we already know. She was just Force sensitive when she was born and just has slowly like used it over time. I like the idea that the whole plot between for 7, 8, and 9 is Rey, Finn, and Poe work together to bring back the Jedi Order, because I feel like a lot of things that is missed over is like how many like Force children coming back and them doing nothing with it, like. So I totally forgot about like Luke's whole trying to bring back the Jedi Order, but yeah. What's next? The First Order is not set on conquering. That's another thing that I decided to change.
On what?
Conquering.
Conquering.
They were trying to make a whole new empire.
I didn't hear what the word was. That's all.
Oh.
No, because the first movie was okay, but I hated the First Order. Like the First Order felt so. Okay.
They copy and pasted it, and it's like when a student copies an article and pastes it in another thing, they change a few words so it doesn't look like plagiarism. Is what it felt like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the whole point of the First Order is we're conquering the universe again. Well, whoop-de-fucking-do, you did that. And the fact that they even brought back the whole like the big like bad in the first movie was, the Death Star? Well, we got something better. A planet Death Star that can kill multiple planets at once.
Yeah, because like this is the Death Star. This is the second Death Star. This is Star Killer base. I'm like, you just showed you had two of the exact same thing earlier, just smaller.
Yeah. So that is like I'm just scrapping that whole like that entirety of it. Like
okay.
So the First Order's new goal now is they're trying to bring back the Siths. They're kidnapping Force users and kind of training them into Sith Lords.
Who's training them?
Kylo.
Okay.
One of the things that I have that I decided to do for Kylo is that he was one of the reasons why he like chooses to be bad is he was tired of being like compared to like Luke and his and Vader, so he eventually was like, you know what, I'm going to be better than any other Force user ever, and I'm going to teach I'm gonna just grow the Sith Empire again. Let's see, what else do I have? That's just like general notes.
Question.
Yes.
Do you remember? I believe it was in the Clone Wars series. They had a whole arc. I think it was called the Holocrons or something that showed like the Force sensitive children.
Yep.
Yes.
Are you gonna bring that into that?
In a way.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I love that idea.
Yeah, basically the entire trilogy is Rey, Finn, and Poe working together to like bring back the Jedi Council, while Kylo Ren is working on bringing back the Sith, bringing Sith Lord back, the Sith back. Let's see. That's just kind of general notes. But yeah, the episode 7 would be them forming the team, like Finn meets Rey, and then the both of them meet Poe, and and they like work together to save some kids. Episode 8 would be them like looking for some old like Jedi ruins and trying to find like more kids. I wasn't able to work on 8 as much as I wanted to. And episode 9 was going to be the final showdown between like the First Order and not the rebels, because there's nothing to rebel, but it's just the First Order.
The First Order are the rebels.
Yeah.
Frankly.
So like the whole like we're the rebels part also like didn't make sense. Like you spent like how many times are you going to rebel against? So I just wanted a different name. Couldn't think of a different name for them.
If I would probably fix anything as well as I wouldn't refer to it as the Resistance, especially since they broke off from being the new like Galactic not the Galactic Empire, like the New Republic. That's what they called it, the New Republic. Yeah. So it was just kind of weird that they're like, we'll make them rebels again, but we won't call them rebels. Yeah, we'll call them rebels.
Yeah.
They just kind of wanted to stick with that theme, which I get. But I kind of I would have thought I like the idea of like them more as a task force.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense narratively.
Yeah.
Resistance.
So yeah, I kind of went off that. Yeah. Another thing. I think Rey could have been 10 times better. I'm not saying we need to you could just remove her in general, but she could have been written way better.
Yeah, out of everything, I would never complain that it was the actor's fault on that.
Yeah.
Stacey really did a great job.
Yeah.
It was just the character. It was the script writing. But, and like, I feel bad for her because she hasn't really gotten a whole lot outside of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, like, they announced that they're doing a new Rey Star Wars movie.
Oh.
And, like, people started shitting on that. And I'm like, please don't hate on Daisy Ridley for that. Of course she's going to say yes to it because she hasn't gotten anything big since Rise of Skywalker. So like as an actor, I would want to. Yeah, that's the one that makes me money. Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, and if she does a good job and she's actually given the chance to have a good script, it can show that it wasn't me. It was this writing.
Yeah, and like she does a great job. She's in a Peter Rabbit movie where James Corden voices Peter Rabbit. Which say what you want about those films, but like she's good. She's funny.
Yeah,
I don't think she's a bad actress.
I haven't seen him. I've got nothing against Daisy Ridley. I just don't.
It's the character.
I don't like Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like Rey.
She could have been way better. Better. I can't fucking speak today. Could have been written way better.
Yeah.
Like I have no problem with her being like the tough ass boss, girl boss.
Yeah.
Just like don't make her don't make that her whole personality.
Yeah.
Like my personality is girl.
Yeah. Yep, girl power.
Yeah. I also wanted Luke to have a bigger role because I thought it was dumb that he just kind of.
Yeah.
So how then I started going to an episode break, like each episode breakdown. Episode 7, Finn meets Rey after abandoning the First Order after killing off some parents of Force users. Yeah. So Finn is still with the First Order, and it kind of ties back into is Finn Force sensitive because he is part of he's part how I imagine it is. Finn was also one of those Force-sensitive characters, but he wasn't as good as like Rey or Kylo. So they kind of just shoved him into the battalion that they have, and Rey learned about what the whole First Order is doing. And I don't remember much of the episode 7, so a lot of this might sound familiar. But this is just what I had. Then Finn sees Rey force wielding and convinces her to come to the rebel quote unquote base, so that he can deliver some information about hey, we're there's a bunch of kids at this location. We need to go here and save them. That's Finn's whole mission for the first movie, to kind of stop the First Order kidnapping more kids and get it to the I hate calling them the rebels, but the giving the information to the rebel hands. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Poe is a part of the Resistance, correct? In the original movies, I wrote down that he isn't in these.
Okay.
How I just wanted him to be like, be similar to. I wanted him to be like a not a bounty hunter, but just like a crack shot pilot.
Kind of like a Han Solo figure.
Yeah, kind of like Han Solo-esque. I don't know. It just I felt like he could have had more character development if he wasn't like part of the Resistance. Like, he felt, from what I remember, he felt kind of like tacked on at the end.
Yeah.
Like, so we're at the Resistance. I am Poe. Cool, you're joining the team. Let's go.
Yeah.
So the whole point of that, the whole point of him not being in the Resistance is like, just to give him some more like chances for character development. I have what I wrote down was Poe's brother and parents were killed by the First Order because his brother was like force sensitive or something. Mm-hmm. So he has a reason to hate the First Order, but he just isn't like join the rebels. Mm-hmm. Climax, they get to the base and they go raid one of the camps housing Force children, and it ends with the movie ends with this trio sticking together, like joining the task force to like save Force children. And then in episode 8, I'll make this a little quicker. Like I said, I wanted this one to be like them like uncovering old Jedi secrets. Finding information about the younglings. And then this is where I went with Kylo. This is where Kylo's character comes more into play, because in the first, how I have it in the first movie is that he is just the big bad. There's nothing to him, but he's just anger.
So similar to the Vader in New Hope.
Yeah. But the whole point of episode 8 is to not only like learn more about we start getting hints about the Grey Jedi in this one, and then like uncovering more Jedi secrets. But we also learned a little bit about Kylo's past, and that's where it's revealed like, oh, he was like he's tired of being compared to his
living
uncle.
In the shadow.
Yeah, living in the shadow. How I don't know why Avatar was influencing me so much, but I like the idea. Last Airbender.
Okay.
But I like the idea of Kylo being like Zuko. He's just so like broken, but he doesn't realize that there's so much potential for him to be good. Mm-hmm. And then the movie ends with like Finn almost dying. I don't know how yet. I wasn't able to flesh that out as much as I wanted. Some new planets they went to, and Kylo wins the final battle. He gets some key information about the Jedi. And in episode 9, I didn't write it down, but this is what I have. It would be the final show off between Rey and Kylo. And I didn't like the whole like Kylo and Rey romance that they were trying to do. It made no sense to me, so I just scrapped it. And I like the idea more that Rey wants to just help him. Mm-hmm. She sees like a little bit of herself and wants to help him. And I saw more of a romance between Finn and Rey, but that's a whole nother boat. In episode 9, Finn kind of like finally gets to master his properties with the sword, and how I had the movie ending was Finn kills Kylo.
Oh, interesting.
This because Rey wanted to help Kylo, she eventually leaves the group and to become the first Grey Jedi, or like the new Grey Jedi, leaving Finn to take care of the younglings that they've saved.
I really like that ending.
Cool. Yeah.
Alright.
What I like about it as an overall thing, it's a trilogy about the Grey Jedi, which I think works really well, because the original trilogy is about becoming a Jedi,
the prequel trilogy is about a Jedi becoming a Sith Lord and like diving into the darkness. What I like about this one is kind of like you get the gray areas, and I know you don't have a whole lot of like big details about stuff, but I feel like with that trilogy and that idea that you have, you can go like throw in elements that bring the characters to have like morally gray obligations or ideas.
Yeah, I want there to be more characters. It's just I was trying to get a basic outline.
Yeah, and like that's good too because you got the whole trilogy outline for that.
Yeah.
And another thing I really like is your influence of Zuko from Avatar being for Kylo Ren, and like that fits very well. Yeah, but those are my thoughts on it. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, there was one thing I was clinging on to when you said Poe wasn't part of the Resistance, and I thought of like in Han Solo-esque. I wasn't thinking of him like a fast-talking smuggler type thing. I saw him more as like an athlete, like a professional like pilot, like in races or something like that.
See, I like that idea more than him just being like this is pod racing kind of character.
Yeah, no, I think I see him more as like that's his profession, and then his brother died, and that's why while he was like I don't know away doing his job professionally, I say pilot racing.
This is pod racing.
Yeah, doing his profession, and then he just hung over of the not being able to like he was literally light years away.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think I like the idea of like a third trilogy. I really do. Yeah. But they could have done way more with it than just like Rey and being the girl boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jack, what do you have?
Alright. So, mine, I did nothing with the original two. I definitely took elements because because there's something like Luke rebuilding the Jedi Order, because that was just stuff that was like left from the original trilogy. Like that was like this is probably what's gonna happen.
It was like the natural next step.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for anything else to happen. So, but I didn't want it to be Luke's story. My idea was, and I summed it up in this first sentence here. It's been a hard 30 years for Han Solo. I really like that line. So essentially, Han Solo, Luke, Leia, and Chewie, after the now 6th movie, after Return of the Jedi, go around and start like cleaning up remnants of the Empire, trying to take it to basically just wipe it off the face of the galaxy. And along the way, as they're having these adventures and they're splitting off and doing these different things, he and Leia still have a kid, but this time it's a young girl. But shortly after she was born, Han, Leia, and the girl, which I don't think I gave her a name, it doesn't matter, they get cornered on this small planet, or small uninhabited moon by former Imperial loyalists. Basically,
no moon. Sorry,
you're good. Yeah. No, you had to. I don't blame you. Yeah, but basically those three they were like in hiding because they just had a kid. They're trying to keep her safe, but some Imperial loyalists find them and attack them. And Leia in this, because she has like latent force abilities, but they're not like combat ones. They're more like being force sensitive and like knowing someone died from like across the galaxy type of thing, like we saw in Last Jedi. But in this, to protect her daughter and Han, she does like bring out this immense power from the Force, but she ends up dying. So Leia's dead before the movie starts, and it goes on. And this, so what we would see in the opening sequence is Han in grief. That would be the opening sequence. It's just Han in grief in these flashbacks, and we'd get more and more of these snippets as he's like going about his day, just completely bereaved. And we see Leia as this pillar of power and I can't
stability.
Stability. And like she's like the embodiment of the light
like
side of
symbol?
the Force. Symbol, yeah, the symbol. Because that's what I feel like she should have been. They did not. I don't think they played that well with with the actual sequel trilogy. I think she just felt like more of a celebrity in the Resistance than anything.
Yeah.
As opposed to her being like, an actual general. I wanted to see her more as like, she's a powerhouse, and I wanted to like show that to her I wanted to show that. So after he loses Leia, Han takes his child to Luke to see who is starting to rebuild the Jedi Order and to see if the child has any force abilities. The child does not. His daughter does not have any force powers whatsoever. So he takes his daughter to live on like a farm in the Outer Rim somewhere to try and live a quiet life. But the Empire finds him and ends up killing his daughter too. So I just had my concept going into this was just Han Solo starting off just an absolute wreck. And then in the first movie we'd have this like a massive like crazy long sequence of Han basically living these moments over and over. And then it finally comes to like him like passed out over a table in his house. We see an open door. It's a point of view over a character's shoulder, and we don't know what's going on until there's these heavy footsteps. Chewbacca screams at him, scaring him. Chewbacca has basically found so yeah, Chewie finds him and tries to get him to go see Luke. Because Chewie's like, I'm sick of your bullcrap, dude. Get off, get on with your life. It's been 20 years since his daughter died. Like, people need your help. I miss them too, but come on. So I kind of want this beautiful moment of Han just refusing, and then finally Chewie just like dragging him out, and Han still refusing, and then finally we see the Millennium Falcon. It's still a piece of trash. But to Han, it's just this beautiful thing.
You mean a hunk of junk?
Hunk of junk, that was it. That ship's garbage. That was a horrible accent. That was horrible.
I'm not gonna disagree.
I don't know what that was.
I mean, if you're wanting praise,
Well,
it wasn't going to.
It wasn't even Kenobi who said it. It was Luke.
No, I was saying Rey. When Rey says it, when they're running, when she's
that's
running
what I was
fan.
thinking of.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, that's what. Anyway, so he sees it, and then he finally is like, fine, because he has all these. Finally sees like a symbol of all these good memories. So he goes to see Luke. And we see Luke is running a very successful, basically, school to train these Jedi. Everything. It's very picturesque. It's like not unsettling how good it is. It's just good, and there's nothing wrong with it. But there's something there, and Han. Goodness, I'm losing track of the order of how this goes. Basically, Luke knows. I kind of picture it as like when people go to like a commune and it's just all these people like happy living together type of thing. That image you get when you see that in like TV shows and stuff. It's kind of like that. And Luke and Han and Luke finally reunite. And Luke tries to. Excuse me. And Luke tries to help Han by basically just trying to help him heal.
Yeah.
And Han is just closed off. He's like, no, not gonna have it. And then it cuts to the night. It's nighttime. Han's like, screw this, I'm getting out of here. He starts leaving. He's gonna take the Millennium Falcon and get out of there. But in the dark, he stumbles upon a Jedi holy site or something along those lines. And in there, he gets met by Leia's Force Ghost. And then they have this long conversation where she just like snap out of it. I love the idea of like Carrie Fisher like looking at Harrison Ford and just going, "Get your life together," type of thing.
I'm just thinking about that one bit that happened in The Big Bang Theory when James Earl Jones and Sheldon went to Carrie Fisher's house and they like DoorDasher.
Yeah.
And
Ding Dong
she's
Ditch,
like,
yeah.
Ding Dong Ditch, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not funny anymore, James.
Yeah.
Then why am I laughing?
I just pictured. I was thinking of that actually. I was thinking of her in that moment, and then just like, I'm like, Carrie Fisher can have so much attitude. I don't know. She just shows like this. I don't know. This symbol of like power is just how I think of her.
Yeah.
And I think I just wanted to play that out a little bit more. So and then Leia also tells Han that Luke isn't being 100% forthcoming, and that Luke has a son. And that has a son. So so Han confronts Luke, and Luke's like, yes, I have a son, and I just made up names. I named the son Callus, but I know, isn't Cal the one from
Cal Kestis.
Yeah,
Cal Kestis.
I kind of just stole that. I couldn't think of anything. So there's Callus, who's like this. He's like this. He's this kid trying to rebel. He's trying to be a smuggler type of thing, but he's just in way over his head. Has no idea what he's doing. But he's doing okay. But he's causing a lot of trouble because he's using these force powers he has and just causing trouble throughout the galaxy. And it's bringing a really bad name to the Jedi Order. And people are starting to trying to have the New Republic shut down Luke's school because Callus is giving them such a bad name. This is like, that's not like a thing that's like really happening. It's just it's starting to become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So Han and Chewie set out again on an adventure on the Millennium Falcon. This time to like get Callus under control. After a bit, after some stuff, maybe they meet up with Lando. They end up finding Callus. And Louis has to literally drag him into the Millennium Falcon. I just love that image of that. They bring him back to Luke, and then we get a very public argument between Luke and Callus. Luke wants Callus to return to the school to basically discipline him more. And Callus is just not having it. He's being this big old brat. And in the argument, Callus thrusts his hand forward, and this object comes flying and it impales Luke. And then Luke laying down dying. Callus is a mess. He's like sobbing, apologizing. And then Luke looks at Han and points. And then we see Han look over and there's someone running off. And Han just immediately sprints off after them. And eventually Han catches a student trying to get in this small ship. But Han, shoots him and holds him at gunpoint. It's like, basically like, I don't know, some cool Harrison Ford line, some like, what are you doing there? It's revealed that this student was the one who actually flew the thing towards him and killed Luke, and Luke does die. And that this student is being compelled by your faces. This student.
Damn,
I was more in the script that you have.
This is like the last like few minutes of the first episode.
Oh.
And then the second ones are a lot quicker. The other two are way shorter. Like what I have written down for the second and third episodes could fit in the first one with room to spare.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the student reveals that she it has been guided by the Force ghost of Count Dooku. I just wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of Count Dooku. Because I'm like, he's such a powerful character.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't use him much. I feel like they needed to use him way more. So she's being compelled by that, and it just kind of ends, and it ends with her escaping because maybe Chewie comes over there, and Han looks back, and then that gives I called her Tyran, short for Tyrannus, Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dooku.
Yeah, Dooku. And then it cuts off. And because it's Star Wars, they kind of like, they don't generally pick up exactly where they left off. There's like there might be a few day gap, and then they have all the, the classic text rolling. So the movie 2 is Callus is being trained by Han, not in the Force, but to track Tyran down. And Tyran's being guided by the Force ghosts of Dooku. And and there's rumors that Tyran has taken a small planet hostage and using the locals to mine for something deep underground. And Kallus hears about this and really wants to go. Han's like, no, you're not ready. Kallus steals the Millennium Falcon and goes. However, he does not realize that Chewie was on board when this happens.
Oh, shit.
So we get Kallus and Chewie. We get this dynamic, and kind of like passing on the torch to Kallus, who has had to grow up since his father is dead, and he has this weight on. He feels this weight on his shoulders, this responsibility. Yeah. So.
Batman.
Yeah. Kallus and Chewie like do this stealth thing where they like are gathering intel, which is hard because Chewie's not quiet. But basically they find out that Tyran is mining for a Sith artifact, and I took part of this from there's a VR Star Wars game called Vader Immortal. Basically, it's shortly after Episode 3 on Mustafar. Vader is mining into the planet. It's this big force. Mustafar, the lava planet, where they had the best lightsaber duel in the entire series, was actually beautiful and green once. They just get into this lore of it, but I like the idea of them mining to find this artifact, this force artifact. This one is a Sith artifact that can, when used, draw out the dark side of anyone. Like to draw out the dark side of the Force. So for anyone without Force abilities, it gives them a little bit of power, but it's only through the dark side, so it corrupts them a bit. However, if they already have Force powers, they go to the dark side and they get immensely stronger. And this one will end with Tyran uncovering the artifact, uses it on herself, and then she's just this immense, powerful, dark, like looming, like Sauron, scary type thing. Like she looks like an evil god type of powerful. Because she had already had this amazing power within her, and then she uses it, and then Dooku has been trying to get her to find this because he wants to bring her back to. He wants her to bring him back to life with it.
Okay.
Is what he's wanting. But once she has it, she like dismisses him, and his force goes to like sent off into wherever it goes. He's like banished from appearing again. It's just, classic Sith treachery.
More like doo-doo. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
And I just kind of imagine this image of Kallus and Chewie, like absolute terror on their face, and we hear this dramatic music, and we zoom in on Terran's face as she's like, I'm picturing like she has like black eyes, running down black eyes with the like Sith pupils, and then just this wicked grin on her face. Oh, I don't know, it's just beautiful in my head. And then we go on to the the third movie. It jumps ahead again. Kallus and Chewie have escaped that, and they're on the run, being chased by the growing army of these people who have had the artifact used on them, so they have these force powers, and they're just wreaking havoc across the galaxy. Han is trapped in Luke's school with his students under siege, trying to, keep everyone alive. And they're communicating with each other. Han's like, I trust you. I don't want to, but I gotta trust you type of thing. It's like, this is up to you. We're stuck here. We're doing everything we can, but Kallus, this is up to you, Chewie. And that's pretty much it. And then I just have the end in mind. For the final of the third movie in my trilogy is Kallus faces up against Tyran alone in a lightsaber battle. Kind of picture of like the throne room scene, except that just those two. That type of thing. Everything exploding around them. And Kallus is just wildly outmatched. He is not trained for this. He has blown off his training for so long. He has no idea what he's doing. And then Tyran just like obliterating him, messing with him. But in the end, I don't know exactly how I want it to, but Kallus, I think either Leia's Force Ghost and Luke's Force Ghost, like, we get like this moment kind of like we had in Harry Potter where Harry talks to Dumbledore in this like way station between life and death, and we get this moment where we see Kallus talking to Luke and Leia, and they give this big inspirational thing, and then it cuts back to real life in the moment. It was probably one of those, like, they have their lightsabers up against each other, pushing against each other, Kallus and Tyron. And then he just, like, and then he, like, opens his eyes with Jedi eyes, this, like, type of thing.
Oh, like Jedi sight, like Kanan, that's his name in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah. Oh. Like, just have him have this own thing, yeah. And then him just, like, pushing up against Tyron, and then her just, like, what's happening type of thing. And then a quick move, Kallus is, like, kind of, like, you know, makes it so his, like, lightsaber's up against her throat, and she has no weapons. He's like, I'm not going to kill you, but it's like, this needs to stop. And they kind of talk, and it gets to the point where, like, someone walks in or something, and she goes, and it goes down to a split second. I like in Man of Steel, where Superman has to choose between killing General Zod or saving this family. I like the moment. I want Kallus to have to kill Tyron to do that, and then and then we just have this thing where he's just like, he feels so out of place. Is he a Jedi? He broke this cardinal rule. What needs to happen next? Type of thing.
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'll start first. Please let me start first. Let me begin with my first thing. Let me rephrase. Let me start with what I like first.
Okay.
What I like is that you focused it on Han Solo, because it makes it more focused on a normal person's view in the galaxy.
Yeah, I wanted to take it away from, you know, just the Skywalkers and that. Like, we've gotten so much of that, and I know that's, as you said, George Lucas said, that's the story of Star Wars, but I wanted it to be like a continuation of that, but I didn't want it to be the main focus for another trilogy, is what I prefer.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, I like all the influences that you put in. You definitely have, like, all these other resources, either from the expanded canon, whether it's still canon or not.
Yeah.
You got, like, these other movie, TV show, like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Man of Steel.
Briefly, The Big Bang, Carrie Fisher's reaction.
Yeah, but, like, all that brings together for a nice story, and the way I'm seeing it, this is going to be like a very dark, gritty kind of trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think I personally would like that.
Yeah.
But that also leads me to the first of my negatives. I feel like this is such a gritty story. It's kind of like the Last Ronin storyline for TNT.
Yeah.
Ooh, love
and
that.
the thing about Star Wars is it's kind of like this 4-quadrant film where it's it works well for both men and women of all ages.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when you take it this story route, for a whole trilogy, that might affect stuff.
Oh no! I wanted to. When I came in, I was like, "This is not going to be your normal Star Wars trilogy. It's not going to be." Yeah.
Another thing that I think this was a very bold move, that you kill Luke and Leia both in the first movie of the trilogy.
I killed Leia before the first movie.
Like, yeah, and that's the other thing is, like, ooh, that might piss off audience to begin with.
Oh, for sure.
And, like, on one hand, in hindsight, that does take care of the problem when after Carrie Fisher does pass away. But that might raffle some feathers right off the bat.
Yeah, I was not expecting the death of Luke to happen here.
Yeah, that's like a good plot twist. But
that was
like,
a shock.
It's very bold of you to take out two major players of the original trilogy in the first movie.
I wanted to refocus it because I felt like it was all Luke and Leia beforehand, which is great. I love that, but I wanted to move the focus away from them, but I still wanted to have them play a part and come back, which is why we had Leia's Force Ghost appearing twice, and then Luke's Force Ghost appearing another time. And in the third movie, I mean, I've got, I think, 3 sentences written for that movie. It looks like 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think Luke's influence, we'd see a lot of flashbacks with Luke, with Kallus. With that.
Which
they're taken off the table.
And I'm going to bounce back to some of the positives. Like, I do like that you brought in original characters and that you've got a whole story arc, and you even got, like, a vision of what you want to see. And I think that's good. Yeah. But
another major problem I see with this is that you want Dooku to be one of the main antagonists.
Yeah.
Or like that ghost antagonist.
It doesn't have to be Dooku. I just kind of liked the idea that it was Dooku.
Yeah, the problem with Dooku is the actor Sir Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
He passed away in 2015, so before even Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
And he died at the age of 93.
Yeah.
So he was well into his 90s.
Yeah.
So he might not be filming at that point.
Yeah.
And then you might have to get into stuff like the de-age and stuff.
Yeah.
You might have to get a whole new actor. You might even just get the voice actor from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was.
Yeah.
Dooku was just kind of a filler, honestly, but I'd like to see Dooku, but like a younger version of him, like kind of what we see in.
And that's another thing you brought up, and this kind of like this more in between thing for me is that you did want to show some aspects of their lives right after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That goes into like the de-aging mocap stuff as well, and like I feel like that's good, but you can only do so much of that.
Well, I wasn't going to for like it was going to be like flashback things, so like we wouldn't actually like get to see like a good look of their faces. We really see a lot more of his daughter. Like we wouldn't see. So like the first bit I said were Han, Luke, and Leia. Leia and Chewie. I cannot speak either. Are sent to clean out the remnants of the Empire. That's kind of like the scrolling text at the beginning. We don't see that. But
okay.
Yeah, we don't see that part. And then we see the rest of it. Han, Leia, and their daughter's journey. We see that through flashbacks of Han.
Okay.
That Han has as he's living these haunting memories over and over.
Oh.
Probably should have explained that
that's
better, but yeah.
Yeah, that's just to me that's very bold, and I don't know if I was one of the producers on that, I don't think I would buy it.
Oh, absolutely not. But that's what I want.
I feel like this could be one like good what if story.
Yeah. Props to you for pulling that trigger.
That's everything I have. Krais, what do you have?
I was just enthralled, man. Like I really did. I liked that you kept the story. Han, Luke, and Leia.
Yeah.
I like just completely tossing Rey out the window.
Yeah.
I like that. It would be... Don't take this the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like great fanfic.
That's what I was going for, honestly.
Yeah.
As I was writing this, I was like, "This is just fan fiction."
Yeah.
I was like, "I love it, though. I'm not going to apologize for it."
But I would love to see that as a movie. Yeah. I would love to see that as a trilogy. Like,
I don't see it doing well as like a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because like it Star Wars is supposed to be one of these more like universally acceptable films that all audiences like, and just like that's a hard sell right there.
Yeah. No, it would not. This would not actually be done. But this is what I would be legitimate. If someone asked me to like give a pitch, this is what I'd give them. I would be like, this is what I want. This is what I want to see, and then they would say no, and then it'd probably come in with like another thing. Well, here's a dark, gritty tale that has nothing to do with these characters, but follows the same themes.
Yeah.
And
that's what I think I like about it overall is that you have a very cohesive theme and story that you want to tell across the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
Whereas I think both Krais and I is more like, how can we fix what we did get so that it is a little bit more cohesive? And I really appreciate you attempted to make a good cohesive story for a trilogy.
You know what it kind of like reminds me of? It gives me like the idea of it would be a great version of like Star Wars Rebels, like a Star Wars TV show.
I was thinking of like this could be a really good spin-off is what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are all of our pitches for the Star Wars sequel trilogy, or how we would rewrite them at least. We're gonna have a poll on whose trilogy did you like the most. Did you like my trilogy? Did you like Krais' trilogy? Or did you like Jack's trilogy the best? And then we're also going to have another item. Jack, you want to explain more on that?
Yeah. So first off, what we're talking about is if you're listening on Spotify, there's when you click on the episode, and I believe you scroll down, you can see the interaction. There's this interactive thing where you can vote on a poll or submit a responses, which is what I will go over quickly. I didn't know this was a thing. It's like the first episode. But for the responses, we'd like to hear what you guys would do for a pitch for a remake or a what would your sequel trilogy look like? Obviously, you won't be able to talk about it for half an hour like each of us did. But We'd like to know your thoughts on what you would do. Would you try and fix it like Austin and Krais did, or are you going to try and something original? Are you going to make it dark? Are you going to make it have a darker tone, make it lighter? What are you going to focus on?
All right.
So now we're gonna go over the poll results for the last episode.
Yeah. So last episode we asked who has the most. What was the term you used? I'm pulling it up right now. Actually,
snazziest.
Who has the snazziest voice? With options being Krais, myself, Jyck, or the voice in your head. We had 7 great voters. Thank you all for voting.
That's 7 more than I thought we were gonna get.
I know, right?
Me too, especially since I didn't know it was a thing until I put the episode out there.
All right, so we had 71% of voters who said the voice in your head had the snazziest voice. That's very true.
What does the voice in your head sound like? Let us know.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Gotcha.
Not so snazzy. And then we had 28% of voters who said Krais had the snazziest voice. And
Krais is the best.
And Jyck and I had 0, so I guess y'all don't like our voices.
Apparently.
Oh well.
Fun fact: I voted for myself.
I don't think anyone didn't expect that.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a couple people. Last thing we're gonna do for today is we're gonna spin the wheel and we're gonna figure out what our prompt for next time is.
Hey.
All right.
Here we go.
Curious.
And
It's gonna be something crazy again.
All right.
I don't know.
that
I
look.
do not.
Hey,
I hate this
no.
face.
This one's fun.
Oh god.
We have to make an outline for a DC cinematic universe.
Oh.
Oh shit.
We're just creating an entire, blockbuster movie trilogies, universes, all this.
Yeah.
Hollywood, listen to us.
Yeah. I know that's like the theme of the podcast, but we have
It is
that's
the
the
theme.
podcast, but we have so many other prompts that we're just sticking to the let's make movies better thing.
Yeah.
All right, but so that's our topic for our next mainline episode. We hope you guys tune in to the next time, and may the force be with you.
That's so
Thank you.
The Three Not So Wise Men. Krais Baker, Austin Michaelis, and Jyck Green. Special thanks to Louis Trotter for the beautiful intro. See you next time.